It's time for VR enthusiasts talking exclusively about VR games. We are virtual strangers. Introducing first, talking out of the corner above me and hailing from the UK. Don't mess with Alex, the British Bulldog. In the corner to the right of Alex and hailing from Colorado, it's James, aka I Am Roots. In the corner below Roots and hailing from Kentucky, watch out for Wes, the Lethal Weasel. Me, I'm Justin, aka Mainfan. Our personal YouTube channels are linked below. Let's get into this week's news.
Wow.
I saw a new trailer for Vader Immortal for Quest and, quote, Rift S. Alex, what do you think about that?
Well, the trailer looks pretty good, actually. This is one that obviously we didn't know it was coming to the Rift originally. A lot of people thought it was going to be a Quest exclusive, and then they revealed at the end of the trailer that it's now coming to Rift S, which obviously means Rift, the Oculus PC store. And what?
We hope.
Yeah. Oh, we hope. Sorry. Yeah. We hope. Well, they've confirmed that it's coming to the Rift. I can't see them excluding normal Rift users. Yeah. Looks good. I think we both said that it's probably we've all said it's probably Rift footage on the video. So what do your Roots? What do you think to this? Do you think it's a good idea, this being released on both platforms and not exclusive to Quest?
I think it's an awesome idea. And I mean, why not double dip and get sales from it? I think it'll probably be free for the Quest and come with it, and probably cost for the Rift. That's my thought on it, but why not? Why not do it? And it looks amazing. Although it's 45 minutes to an hour, they said, being one episode.
Yeah. I think it's going to be more of an experience, but for the fact that they've got if it was just like a real linear experience, wouldn't they just say it's going to be 45 minutes? If it's got 45 minutes to 60 minutes, then that would mean maybe there is more interactivity than we thought. So did you guys, Justin, I'll pass it back to you, did you think this was going to be more of a game, or were you expecting what it's going to be?
I was expecting the same as Trials on Tatooine, basically, where you're just gonna kind of mess around, interact with some stuff like you interacted with the Millennium Falcon, and then you're gonna get a lightsaber, and you're gonna mess with the lightsaber a little bit, do some things here and there. I didn't think it was gonna be anything too crazy. But Wes, what did you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I always assumed that it was going to come to Rift anyway, but it seems like it's going to happen a lot sooner than we imagined, and I think it's a good move. I don't really see this. I mean, as big as a Star Wars fan as I am, and many others are out there, I don't think this is really a hardware seller. People aren't going to go out and drop $400 just so that they can play this game. So I think it's smart of them to capitalize on the Star Wars name and maybe make some money just by selling the software.
Do you think that they should have kept it a short time exclusive at all, or do you think it doesn't make no sense, or just release it at the same time?
Well, right now they're just trying to keep their selves in the news, because Valve has pretty much stolen all of their thunder. So basically, any announcement, any press for them right now is good press. And no, I don't blame them. Maybe they're trying to counteract any game announcements that might be coming down the pipe from Valve in the next few weeks. But no, I think it was a good move. I just hope it says it's for Rift S. I just hope that that doesn't mean that it's exclusively made for inside-out tracking, because that would be terrible.
They would never do that. There's not enough play. Most of the players are going to have OG rifts right now, so if they did that, then they're stupid. But they won't do that. It'll just be on the Oculus Store. They've already said that they're going to everything that comes out in the future will work on the OG Rift. So there's no reason for them to not do that.
Maybe it might not be the case at launch, though. It may be that they have to patch in OG support, but I don't know. Who knows?
You're saying they said that every Rift S quote game is going to be also Rift. Is that what you're saying, Alex?
They said that, yeah. What's his name? Said it. I can't remember his name. The guy who was Jason Rubin, is it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. He said in an interview that they will. They're not going to exclude OG Rift. Everything's going to be working, and there's no reason why they'd do that because there's not enough Rift S owners out there. They've not even got it up for sale yet. If you've got, say, I don't know how many, but let's say 1 million OG Rift owners, why would you then bring something out that only works on the new headset, which no one owns yet? So
the only reason would be to force people to buy it, just like a console.
Would it though? Would you buy it just for that game? I don't think it would work.
Not for that, but if they kept doing it, you're going to be forced to, unless you absolutely hate them for it.
It would piss people off. I wouldn't be happy. It pissed me off more than actually want me to buy I wouldn't buy if they did that, I would not buy a Rift S because it pissed me off so much. So. Yeah.
So another big story this week was there was a new Boneworks gameplay video from Node, and this is a game by Stress Level Zero. And their lead guy there, Brandon, he hangs out with the Node guys a lot because they're in the same building. So that's why he's in a lot of their videos. And, he was there with them in this video. And so, Alex, what did you think of that?
Looks good to me. I know some people would say it's a tech demo, but I think... I know we're going to get into it, but I played Duck Season just for this show because I knew that we were going to talk about this, and that's their previous game. And they've actually, Duck Season, although it's a short game and there's a lot to it, you can actually see the groundworks that they laid. Like even things, I don't know if you noticed this, but like things like the shotgun and anything you pick up, they have collisions and they have physics. You can't, if you move the shotgun around, it has like a delay because of the weight. If you put it on the sign in the duck hunt area, it hits the sign and it collides with it. So they've already got that. They were already working on that before. They've also got like a virtual stock where when you pull the gun up, it doesn't move about as much. I don't know if you noticed that. And that's something that Brandon did a video about. So they were already laying the groundworks, and this video just looks like they've taken it. Obviously, all that physics stuff, built an inverse kinematic system for the arms and just built on that and just tweaked it and fine-tuned it, and it looks great. I mean, yeah, technically it is probably a tech demo what they're showing, but they have confirmed that there's going to be a full game, there's going to be a story to it, so I'm looking forward to it. I think one of the things with this is that it's just the interact. So like watching the video, you can see you can interact with everything. If it's an object you can pick up, you can mess about with it. You can pick things up. You can flip tables over. I think this is going to be really feel like a next level game in terms of just the way you can actually interact. There was a scene in that Node video where it like breaches a door, and there's a door, and normally to open a door you'd have to physically push your hand to be able to open it. But because it's got an actual physical body in the game, in fact, it was just on that, you just missed it, but he actually just side strafes into the door, and the body in the game actually opens the door. So his hands are still up, he kind of side strafes in and like barges through the door, and it looks really realistic the way that it moves. I've not seen that in a game before, where normally to open a door you have to use your physical hands, whereas you can actually use your body. Like he's headbutting these head crowd things, and he's literally headbutting them, and it looks like it's going to be so many different ways to play it. And I think that's one of the things that they're going to do. They're going to have these levels, which are kind of like it looks like it's going to be some sort of test facility where you're going through certain levels. But I'm guaranteeing that there's going to be loads of different ways that you can go through them, and there's going to be like a kind of sandboxy because you can mess with that with the physics and stack things up, and Yeah, I think it looked cool. I know, Justin, you're not quite as interested. You know, well, maybe not as. You don't understand the hype as much, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, all the physical interactions look great, but it's not really a game yet. I'm looking more for a game. But Roots, I heard that Boneworks makes your bone work. Tell me more about that.
No, I love that elephant, actually, by the way. That's
Thank you.
awesome. No, I'm definitely psyched about Boneworks. I think a lot of people, the big focus is, I think it's going to be the next engine for a lot of games. That's what they're focusing for, is to be the next Unity, to be the next Unreal engine. And I think they're going to do it. And just the way that everything, like you were saying, everything that the interactions, when I played Shadow Legends VR, I got so giddy and excited about the mechanics and the way things feel. I can only imagine what playing through just what I've seen in this video would feel like. And I think that is going to be key. And once a lot of, there's people talking about this being, I love that part. There's people talking about this being the next, not being Boneworks, but actually being like Portal or whatever, or Half-Life, which it's not. But I do believe that this engine will be used for that game. It won't be Boneworks, but it'll be the engine. I think that's what's all coming together.
I believe this uses. I'm sure this is in Unity, and it's just the actual physics that they built, the physics code basically for this. So I don't know if they'll be able to use that, because I'm pretty sure that Valve are going to be using their Source engine for any of their games they make. So I'm not sure whether this physics that they've developed within Unity. I'm sure it's in Unity. Maybe it's not, but I know Duck Season's in Unity. So
the article I was reading was talking that they were literally trying to make it to be the next Unity or Unreal Engine. That they're trying to make it an engine for games.
Oh, maybe I'm mistaken then.
That's where it started, and they're now bringing the game around it because so many people are interested in the game that they've shown, that they're actually developing storyline around it, and even that is intriguing. You know, it's like an AI Inception created world that's always trying to trick you to feel like to be more immersive. It's really kind of a very unique idea, I think.
Hey, Wes, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I pretty much agree. I think that these guys are intentionally not showing their cards right now. People are, the ones that are down on this are down on it because it's not a game. I just don't think they're showing their game. I think they're excited about their physics system that they've built here, and they're showing that off in kind of a sandbox demo situation that they programmed specifically to test their engine out on. But I think that this will be built into a game with a story, but they're just right now trying to get people hyped for what's coming in the future. So I wouldn't be too alarmed that this seems basic. I think it's intentionally basic.
Well, the first level in that Node video, the video in the latest Node video, they've said is the first level of the game. So that is actually what the game will be like. But from what they've said, it's going to be. It did say something about you're like a game developer and you're fine tuning your game or something. It's like you're playing in VR, but then the head crabs can get on your head, and I don't know. It sounds like it's going to be quite a deep sort of. Because the good thing about Duck Season is the creativity that they did with that game, with the scenes, with the different endings. You can see that these developers have got quite a good creative mind. So I think that they're going to probably play about with things quite a lot with the story. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it, because these guys, although Duck Season's not very long, what they did with it, I loved the level of detail that they went into that game, all the different videotapes and everything. If you look at all the different endings, some really creative. Every ending is completely different. So I think that they'll do a really good job with this. And if it is the structure for future games as well, then shit, this is going to be cool.
Here's what I have to say about the Stress Level Zero is the developer. there was a launch game for the Vive called Hover Junkers, and I got it at launch, and it was this multiplayer shooter. It was kind of just that. I mean, it looked really good, and it was, you know, pretty creative, but it fell off the cliff pretty fast. People just stopped playing it, and the developers didn't, you know, they kind of abandoned it for a long time, and it kind of went nowhere. So then their next game was Duck Season, and I personally hated Duck Season. I hated it. The gameplay to me was incredibly tedious and boring. It was the same duck shooting scene over and over, and I didn't even like the gun handling. The way the gun felt, I didn't like it. And I liked the living room where you're playing with all the stuff everywhere. That was cool, but it was like, to me, it was barely a game. So that's my concern.
Yeah.
Well, they're certainly they're being very ambitious with this. That's the one thing that I do remember from the Node video is basically their goal here is to make it as close to real life physics as it possibly can be. Everything interactable. How would it react if it were really there? Which seems like quite an undertaking to me. If they're going to do that successfully, you'd think that it would take years for them to achieve it. Mm-hmm. So let's hope that they end up reaching their goals.
I think they've been building this up over quite a few years, and they did say, I think Brandon did say that it's like a balancing act between realism and making sure it's fun. So I think they want it to be realistic, but certain elements, like obviously if you shoot a crate with a gun, it wouldn't just crumple and explode. So he did say that was one of the examples where they're trying to get that balancing act between, like you can obviously force pull things, like you can force pull things like in Duck Season, where if it's out of reach, you can have it come into your hand. So I think they're mixing that together. I'm interested in it. It's definitely, a lot of people are obviously excited for it. I think, when do you guys think this is going to come out? Any of you, Bruce, do you think this is going to come out?
I don't know. It seems like it's a ways away. They're just starting to show the beginning of level, but I'm hoping it comes out, soon. I want to play it today.
Do you not think this might be an index kind of launch games type?
It could be. Yeah, it could easily be indexed for sure. And that's a lot of things. We don't know what Valve's going to be releasing their headset with, or who they've got, associations with game wise. So.
All right, we'll move on to Nintendo Labo VR. Wes and I both got this delivered yesterday. We both got the kit with all the animals and the bird whose asshole you can look at, and the gun and the elephant. So I was actually working on this elephant today just so I could do that dick joke. And I haven't actually gotten to use that, but I have used the headset, and I was holding it up, and I was like, oh my God, I can't hold my arm up for this long. So I took a Gear VR strap and modded it on. Up here is a zip tie holding it there, and then I just cut slits into the side. So it can sit on my face now. I haven't actually tried it yet this way.
That's a good idea, though. I'm going to definitely have to do something similar.
Is it comfier than a PSVR?
Is it like a pillow on your face?
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be better than PSVR. But I don't know if you saw a video. I added this thing that I bought from Studio Form Creative. I
saw that top strap.
Yeah, that helps a lot. So, let's see. So the Switch just slides in, and it's really snug. It's so snug that I'm having a problem. All right, it's in here now, and let me see how heavy this thing feels. It's not that, well, it feels heavier than a Rift or a Vive for sure. So I don't know how long it would take for this to start hurting my face. But anyway, Wes, what do you have to say? Your kids were trying it.
Yeah, it was largely what I expected it to be. My two younger sons, they both loved it. Of course, they don't get to play VR whenever they want to here because they're too young. I have to space it out over weeks between turns. My daughter, who just turned 12 today, happy birthday, Isabel.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
She can play VR whenever she wants to, and she was a little less impressed by it. She liked it, but she wasn't as blown away by it as the boys were. But it was largely what we thought it would be. It kind of felt like having a 3DS up to my face. The games had that same similar feel to them. I think that people who haven't tried VR before are going to be surprised by it, and I think that people who play VR every day are probably going to be a bit underwhelmed by it.
Yeah, I thought the screen door effect, like, it wasn't that bad. And the pixel alignment, it was actually, they were vertical. So I think it's an RGB LCD panel. I was trying to look it up online, but I couldn't find anywhere like specific technical specs for the Switch. It just kept saying 720p everywhere, you know. So, I mean, it looked pretty good if you kept your head still, but if you turned your head with any speed, it gets really blurry.
Yeah, the blur was probably the only really bad part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is something that they direct you to play seated. You really, it's something. Again, if you're someone who's new to this and don't know what real good VR is like, that's just going to be something that you get used to and overlook. Whenever you sit still and focus, it becomes clear pretty quickly, you know, and the tracking is actually surprisingly good for something that doesn't have a camera. It's just using gyroscopes and accelerometers and all sorts of internal sensors. The tracking is surprisingly good. So I think that for what it is, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What are the lenses like? Are they?
They're big. They're very big. Yeah. I was surprised.
Big sweet spot then.
Yeah, you didn't really notice the sweet spot, you know, moving out. Everything's kind of a little bit distorted because of the screen, so there isn't a real noticeable sweet spot in it for me, anyway.
Yeah.
Like there isn't a noticeable sweet spot issue.
Right.
Yeah.
Are they like Gear VR then? They're not got rings on them. They're just like a glass.
No, they're Fresnel lenses, but it's just they're really big, and the rings, the space in between the rings, it doesn't seem to be as big as on my Rift. But again, everything's got a little bit of distortion in it, so little stuff like that doesn't really stick out so much. It just kind of all blends in together.
Oh yeah.
Go on.
Sorry. This Zelda, you know, update comes out on the 25th, and the Mario Odyssey update comes out on the 25th too, supposedly. So you can play those, you know, in your.
So based on what you've played, do you think that this Zelda thing will just be you just keeping your head still and just playing the game, or do you think you'll be able to move your head around?
I think you'll be able to move your head, but it'll be really blurry when you move your head.
You don't think that'll make people sick, or I mean.
Oh no! I don't get the feeling that this is really going to be enough to make people sick, specifically because of the blurring. You know, in most games, when you go into the comfort options, like Farpoint, for example, there's an option to turn on turn blur, so that when you turn, everything gets blurry, and it's meant to keep you from getting sick.
You think that's been done on purpose then?
No, but I think it'll have the same effect regardless.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, remember how a lot of people felt sick playing Lucky's Tale because of the camera movement? I heard so many people say that, and I can't ever relate because I never get motion sickness, but I heard tons of people say it. So I feel like the camera movement in Zelda might be an issue.
That was when I first played Lucky's Tale. I did get a little bit of queasiness. Yeah. That was one of the first games though. So.
Yeah. So I don't know how people are going to deal with Zelda unless, like Wes said, they do some sort of vignette or blurring thing.
Well, I don't think that they're going to have any choice. I think it's just going to be blurry,
that's true.
That's going to be enough. You know, hopefully that's enough. Well, what I'm really curious about is what's going to happen with it when they upgrade the hardware, when they put out something that's got a 1080p OLED on it,
Yeah.
What's it going to look like then? Is it going to be as blurry or is it going to be good? Only time will tell.
Yeah. Well, in other releases this week, Falcon Age came out this for PSVR, but I'll talk about that later. Later on when we get to game discussions. So Vacation Simulator came out this week for PC, and we all got to play it. And, Wes, tell us about your adventure.
Well,
God.
I got into this one by request. My kids, they've been excited for this one for a while. My daughter wanted to see the mountain scene specifically. So I went in to make a video of it. When I got into it, no surprise, it was node-based teleportation with no turning. So you really have to use your room scale in it. And, that's something that I don't normally do very much. Being, like I said before, I came up on PSVR, so I'm kind of used to sitting still, facing forward. But this game kind of forces you to do it. So I said, you know what? I've got this Rift here. It's time for me to embrace room scale and let's play this game. So I got about 30 minutes into it and I was really enjoying it, having a blast. I noticed off in the distance there was this guy skating around a hole. He's ice skating. There's a hole in the ice like he's an ice fisherman. And I just happened to have a mechanical fish. So I thought, well, maybe I'm supposed to interact with that. I'm going to throw this fish in that hole, but it was kind of off in the distance. And the throwing physics in this are really, really good. It surprised me. Normally in other games, when I try to throw something, it'll either hit the ground or it'll go way far. But this is really accurate. When I threw like snowballs, they pretty much went where I intended for them to go. So I thought, you know what? I could throw this fish in that hole way over there. And I wound back and I threw it and crash. I destroyed my television set. So the game is what we thought it was. It was very much Job Simulator Part 2, but screw room scale. I'm going to strap myself to a chair next time I play this game and maybe put some bubble wrap around my television because this is getting to be a little more expensive than I wanted it to be.
Roots, what did you think about that sandcastle?
I think it's a lie. I think it's lying to me because I went to go in it and Justin said, hey, check out the sandcastle because I couldn't get it to make it, or couldn't make it rather. Mm-hmm. And so you go in there and it's got schematics. It's got 3 different pictures from the top, the right, and from the front. And no matter what I can do, I can't get the right side to line up. And it looks just like the fucking picture, or at least I think it is. Yeah. And I think she's lying to me. I think she's being not a good person. So robot. But yeah, it's definitely it's definitely a fun game. I do think it's the node based and the room scale. It really bothers me. Obviously I've got a green screen and I got all these lights and I've gotten to the point where I don't have as much room to move around. I mean, I could move all my shit and I could make it work, but I get used to being able to just move with my locomotion and I don't want to break my TV either. So, yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that need to stay in one spot, and this game requires that you have some space to actually walk around. So I don't know how they're dealing with that. They should have done some sort of free locomotion option.
There is one thing I did notice, that I was reading an article about it, and they said if your play space is set up, I think it's about what you have your play space set up for. If it's not set up for full room scale, it will adjust everything around you to be able to get to it a little bit more. And I think you forgot to mention, Wes, that because you've gotten so used to not using room scale, and I did the same thing. I realized it last night. Thank God. I turned my chaperone off, and I didn't. I could have easily broke my TV if I decided to throw a mechanical fish into an ice hole. So
yeah, I turned my chaperone off a long time ago because I never really need it. It's not the biggest play space here that I have. It's probably 8 by 12 feet, but I've never had any issues with it. The only time I've ever touched my television before was playing Wilson's Heart, when you have to literally fist fight with the the prosthetic man when he comes to life there toward the end.
Mhm.
I hit my TV then, but I didn't damage it. But besides that, I've never really had any issues. I ran into the wall once when I was playing Dimension Hunter because you kind of have to dodge a lot in that. But besides that, really, I haven't had any issues. So I've had my chaperone turned off for a long time, but I guess I probably should at least put the floor boundary back on if I'm going to go back into this one.
Alex, did you punch anything in Vacation Simulator?
Only myself for playing it, but yeah, it's. I tried it just because you guys had it, and I thought, you know what it was. I actually went into this game. I already said last week that I wasn't really interested in this game. Never tried Job Simulator, but I just thought to myself, you know, I need to try it because I like to be open, try different games, and I went into this game actually thinking that I was going to have a lot more fun than I did. I thought I was going to go into this game and I was just going to, you know, think, oh man, and spend, you know, 45 minutes, an hour before I even knew it. But yeah, I mean, this game is firmly in the kids department. I mean, there's no, I was just playing it and I just got to the point where I just thought, why am I doing this? I'd rather be doing something else. So I did 30 minutes. I checked it out. I like the interactivity. I like the way you can, you know, there's everything. You can get in the bathtub and you can, you know, turn the TV on. There's programs on the TV and they've got a little game thing. Did you try that with the cartridges and you've got a game pad and you can play with that?
Yeah.
So, you know, the level of detail that they put into the world and the amount of interactivity that they have is really impressive. But just, I feel like this game is made for kids and it's made for people who probably are new to VR, who are just experiencing it for the first time. I mean, I actually like the room scale element of it because I've said before, I like having to be able to move in my space rather than rely on locomotion. But I've got that used to not moving around that I didn't really move around. It's weird. When I first got VR, I was walking around my entire play space. And now I've just got, it's that much of a habit of not moving that I have to physically remember, oh yeah, I can actually walk over to that thing to actually pick it up. So I didn't have that problem with my TV. You can see my TV's there. I don't want to be damaging that. Yeah, the thing you said about the size of the room, I think Tested mentioned it on their review that if your play space isn't big enough, they have little nodes. So there's nodes within around the actual area, so you can like move to slightly different areas within an area sort of thing. So I think that's how they've got around that problem.
Yeah, I think the first one didn't have any locomotion of any sort. I don't think there was teleport. I think you just stay in one spot. So that's one difference here. Another thing I noticed was this game isn't nearly as funny. There wasn't much humor in this, whereas Job Simulator, I thought there was a lot more humor.
Yeah, I agree, but I think that this game has a lot more to it than Jobs. Well, I wouldn't say a lot more. There's a lot. They try to give you more to do. They give you tasks. The levels seem bigger. They've kind of just scaled Job Simulator out, taken the humor out of it, and pretty much as much as they've done to it, it's still 30 minutes. By the time you get a half hour into it, it starts to wear thin, in my opinion. I agree with what Alex said, that it is probably something that's more suited for children.
What really stands out in this game for me in Job Simulator is that everything you can pick up collides as it should with everything else. Most VR games don't do that. Everything, if you hit like something you're holding onto a counter, the counter stops it. If you play Shadow Legend, anything you're holding goes through everything.
Yeah.
That's where Boneworks comes in. Boneworks is like a Job Simulator, but for adults. So
yeah,
it's
but for adults.
Yeah.
But I noticed, I was actually testing this today. Your hands, if you don't have anything in your hands, they will go through stuff. They'll go through something that's not interactable, like a table or something. But if your hands touch an interactable object, the thing will actually move before you've even grabbed it. So that stands out to me. Yeah,
the physics in this game, as well as Job Simulator, is some of the best in VR. There's no question about that. Yeah. is absolutely right. That's what makes it so frustrating that you can't have walk around and mess with everything. It's like they give you this world that is completely interactable, but they don't give you the movement to interact with it, and it's quite frustrating.
They played it very safe. I think they wanted to cater that they don't want to get anyone to get sick. It's all about kids and new people, and they just played it very, very safe. They didn't. I mean, I've said I didn't see the full game, but I think from everything that I've seen, they don't really push anything new. It's just all kind of just the same sort of mini games that you can play.
Yeah.
Kids will love them, but as an adult, I just found they were too basic for me. I couldn't find the motivation to keep playing the game. So
Yeah, I was the same way. There's a lot more content in this game, but I'm the same way. It's just kind of gets old pretty quickly.
All right, so the next game that came out this week is The Spy Who Shrunk Me. And so this was like an update, a VR update to an existing flat game. So, Roots, what did you think of The Spy Who Shrunk Me?
I think that the VR implementation is not where it needs to be. I spent about an hour and 15 minutes trying to adjust the settings to get it to look good because I was trying to record it at the same time. I even said fuck recording. I started just trying to play the game. I had to under super sample it to 0.3, and it was still janked up bad. I mean, the most of what I've seen in the game was literally I streamed some flat gaming because I wanted to see the game, and the performance was too horrible for me to play through at this point.
Yeah, I played 4 levels, and yeah, there was reprojection on most of that. There was like one level where for some reason I wasn't getting much reprojection, but like I was trying it at 1.0 super sampling and even the settings on low, and I was still having all this reprojection. Like it didn't seem to matter if I had it at low or if I had it at ultra. It made no difference. So I contacted developers, and they say they're going to work on it, and they have some fixes incoming. But Alex, I think the game wouldn't run at all, right?
yeah, the way they've done the VR mode is if you've got your base flat game, and then the VR mode is a DLC that you have to download.
Mm-hmm.
So I installed the base game, and then when I tried to download the DLC, it just kept launching the actual base game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it wouldn't install the DLC. And I know, Roots, you had this problem, but I think you found a way of working around it.
Yeah, I pretty much just because I had the exact same thing. It seemed like it was kicking. Didn't seem like it was downloading it, but then all of a sudden it was downloading it. I went into started Steam VR and started it that way, and it seemed to kick it on. And then after that, when I tried to open it up, it would automatically load it up, give me the option for Steam VR to start it. So I don't know if that's just a bug as well, or if it was just, I don't know. That's weird.
So the premise of the game is you're this female spy who's infiltrating like Russian headquarters and stuff like that. And you have like bananas, you have like little sensors that inflate to send enemies flying. Then you have a gun that'll shoot a shrink ray that you can either use on your enemies or on yourself to shrink yourself. And there's other stuff too. There's a teleporter. So the coolest thing is the shrink ray, but you have limited ammo. So it's like, all right, am I going to use this ammo on these guys to shrink them, or am I going to use it on myself to try to, hide from them and avoid them? And, sometimes you have to shrink yourself to get through certain areas because it's, there's no other way to get through it. So, it's pretty interesting, pretty unique. Did you have something else?
I would even tell the trailer. I'm just watching the trailer, and this looks cool. This game looks really cool. I'm actually really interested in it. I just think we need to just wait maybe for the devs to patch it and fix it. And that's something I don't know if we've got time today, but we need to have a discussion maybe at some point about early access and what we think about that. But maybe skip that for today because we're short on time.
All right, so the next game is Blade and Sorcery. On April 4th, they did an update where they added this new arena. They added the ability to climb, and they added dismemberment. So, they also added some new weapons. But you can see if you swing hard enough, you'll knock people's heads off. You can cut their arms and legs off. You can take off everything so they're just a stump. It's extremely brutal. You feel like a psychopath when you're playing this. So I got the update, and then I went to this level, and there are all these like ropes that look like zip lines, basically. And if you get an axe, for example, you can hang from the rope and then slide down it. And it's in the trailer video of that. And so then I went in there. I was like, all right, I want to try that. So I went on there and I did this right here, and I just fell right off and fell into the water down there. Then I was like, all right, let me try that again. Nope, fell into the water again. So then I was like, all right, maybe I need 2 hands on this axe. Did 2 hands? Nope, fell into the water again. So then I was like, all right, well, let me try to chop off some heads. So then you can grab people by the throat, or grab them by the shoulder, the leg, the arm, whatever. So I'm grabbing people by the throat, and I'm like, I'm chomping. Come off, you bitch. Your heads won't come the fuck off. And I'm like, look at all these YouTubers. It's like, bam, slice the head's flying. Next person, head's flying. I'm like,
You're not strong enough, Justin. You're not strong enough, man.
No,
Just get in the gym.
I got to hit the weights. So
Yeah.
then I went to the Blood and Sorcery Discord, and I asked some guys about it, and they were like, oh, you have to install this mod. And I was like, what? So on their Discord, there's this whole mod channel where people are just posting all these mods. So you can add tons of mods to this game. So there was a mod that made dismemberment easier. So that's what people have been doing. So now then I did that mod, and then I can chop their heads off, easily. Oh, I'm going running through their legs. And then that made it more fun. Then also I heard, so to make that sliding on the rope work, I had to go into the options, and there's a section called like experimental settings, and I had to check on climbing. And once I did that allowed me to slide down this rope. And I was like, what the hell? How is anybody going to know all this shit?
Yeah, that pisses me off. I tried Blade and Sorcery, and God damn, you were saying to me about, you've got to go into the settings and you've got to tweak like the sword. It's like, why is it not like that from release? Why is the dev releasing this game and then relying on modders to then make it how it should be? It pisses me off. Like, why release the game? Like, they've got this trailer showing all these cool things, but you can't do that because you've got to download shit and you've got to change settings to be able to do the freaking thing. It just pisses me off. Why not just release the game as? Oh yeah. Anyway, that's pissing.
What's happened is modders have released the mods, and then the developer's like, "Oh, that mod was a good idea," and then he implements the mod into the actual game. So like one modder made the ability to take a spear and trip people up, and I love doing that. You just do it under their legs really fast, and they fall on their ass, and then you can just jab them. And so the developer was like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna add that into the game." So I think he actually fixed the feel of the weapons.
Right.
It felt better when I went in recently.
This is another early access thing for me. We need to talk about it one day, but yeah, I'd rather just wait. I'll wait until it's all sorted and it's all good. And
yeah, and it's just a what the hell's the word? A sandbox. It's not like a real game. There's no you're just fighting waves of enemies, and then there are no unlocks. There's no progression. But the developer said he wants this to be an actual RPG with you're building up skills, and you're actually going through talking to people and all that. I don't know how the hell that's going to happen.
He's going to wait on the modding community to add all that in there, I guess.
I think so. Yeah. So next week there's some new releases. The first one is Ghost Giant. So Wes?
Oh yeah. This game actually. A lot of information came out on this one in the last few days. I guess the review embargo came up on Thursday, so we got to see a lot of Ghost Giant, and I've been excited about this one for a while. This was one of the games that was announced during the 2018 E3, the one that was such a disappointment to everyone, because going into E3 there was all these leaks, false leaks as they turned out to be, but there was a false Walmart ad that had like BioShock VR and like Resident Evil 2 VR, and then somebody leaked some pictures of Super Cold, the sequel to Super Hot. So everybody was super pumped going up into E3, and then when we got to E3, basically all that they gave us was Trevor Saves the Universe, Tetris Effect, and this. And for for this to be something that Sony was leaning on during a big conference like that, we've had pretty high expectations for this game for a while. So yeah, I've been looking forward to it. It looks like it's a game very much in the same. The gameplay is similar to Moss, whereas you're a third party. You're not the character, the lead character, but you're a big helper and you're present in the world with the lead character. And the way this differs from Moss is I don't even really think that you control the lead character in this game at all. You just manipulate the environment. It's a very story-driven game, and it's very puzzle-heavy. So you're basically manipulating things in the environment, and it's very much an atmosphere game, a story-based game, and something that you're supposed to connect with on an emotional level. Up until this last week, I was sure that I was going to buy it because you can tell that a lot of times went into it. It's going to be a high-quality production, but in the last few days, I found out a few things that's got me second-guessing it. I don't doubt that I'm going to play it, but when I asked the developer how long this game was, he said it was 5 to 6 hours long campaign. But when I talked to someone I know that did a review on it, they said it's more like 3, and I trust this person's opinion. So if he says it's 3, that it's probably around 3 or 4 hours, which is not a big deal. I like short games. You get to finish short games. But this one in particular is a $30 short game. And if I want to wait 2 to 3 weeks, I can have it for nothing from GameFly. So I'm thinking instead of maybe dropping the $30 so I can play this next week, I may just wait until the beginning of May and get it from GameFly and save that money for Blood and Truth because I'm going to need it, right?
Yeah, $30 is steep.
Do we know if this is if this is an exclusive or time exclusive for PS4?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I get the feeling that it's an exclusive. I think that it is, but I'm not 100% on that. I really don't know.
Moss we thought was an exclusive, and then that just came out of nowhere. So
Right.
Possibility. Do we know if this is published by Sony or
Zoink?
This is Zoink Games, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's possible it might come then, maybe.
Yeah, it may be a while, but yeah, nothing would surprise me anymore. It's happened so often now that you think one thing about a game and then the opposite happens, so we really can't assume. So maybe this will come to PC, and as good as it looks for PlayStation VR, I imagine it would look even more so on PC.
Yeah. Hey, another PSVR game coming next week is Immortal Legacy: The Jade Cipher. And I don't know anything about this, but Wes, I think you do.
Oh yeah, this was I think it was like a year or two ago. Sony announced an initiative to help subsidize games from East Asian developers. So there was a bunch of games that Sony decided to fund development for, and this is the latest such example of those games. This is from I think a Chinese developer. It was developed under the name Kill X, and here as we've gotten closer to release, the developer decided to change the name to Immortal Legacy: The Jade Cipher. Not a whole lot is known about this game. We know that it is a story-driven episodic game. This is the first episode. There are some FPS elements to it, and it looks really good. But basically, all we've really seen is this trailer here. So high hopes for this one. We do know that it's going to release for $20, which has got some people to question the length of it. But again, if it's high quality, I can deal with the short game, especially if it's episodic, and we're going to get more of it in the future anyway. But I'm looking forward to this one. I'm definitely picking this one up on Tuesday. This one's not going to be a GameFly release, so it's either digital or nothing with this one, at least for right now. And it looks cool. I'll be able to report back on this. If not next weekend, then the weekend after, I'll be able to tell you exactly what we have here.
Anybody else?
Nope.
That looks pretty cool.
All right, so now we're into game discussions. Alex is going to start. Today, I mean, we're only going to do one game each this time. Normally we do 2 games. Well, just one this time.
Okay, yeah, the game that I'm decided to talk about is Hellblade. So, before I say anything, the footage, I think we've got the wrong footage. We think it might be Switch footage, but this game is a third-person, how would you describe it? Like a hack and slash type
Puzzle.
cinematic puzzle. Yeah, it was originally a flat game, released on pretty much everything, including Switch, which is why we think this is Switch footage. But out of nowhere, I think at some point last year, I think it was middle of last year, the devs just said, okay, well, we're releasing this for VR. And then I think it was like 2 days later, it came out. And everyone was like, shit, you know, this. I like it when this stuff happens because it's just like, there's no build up, it's just, here we go, this is an awesome game, play it. So yeah, this came out, everyone was loving it. This is one of the games that I think that would turn a lot of people who thought that third-person games in VR wouldn't work, and this is one that definitely proves that to be wrong. The game is like a psychological, like you've got voices going on in your head because you play this woman called Senua, and she's carrying the head of a dead husband, and she's trying to go to hell or something like that to try and get him back, I think, or get his soul or retrieve his soul. And yeah, it's freaking dark, this thing. I mean, one thing I will say about this is the first hour, you need to get past that first hour, because once you go through and you've got these 2 gates, and you can choose which gate you want to go through, and then you go through and you do one little mini boss, and you go through some puzzle and do another little mini boss, and then you open the main gates through. Once you get past those main gates, I was hooked. I mean, that sequence from when you open those main gates, damn, that was some of the best things I've seen in VR. It was just incredible. There's moments when she's literally, it's a third-person game, but there's moments where she's talking to you, like she's talking at you like you're an actual there. So it's not like you're just a camera, and she gets really close to you, and she's like, it's so, I mean, it's so, I don't even know how to describe it.
Immersive.
Yeah, but it just, you really get lost in this game more than any other first-person games. So, and then again, it proves that if the game is designed right around. I mean, this wasn't even made for VR, and it feels so good. It's so weird that's a game that can be made for flat can feel so good in VR. But yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, there is puzzles. The puzzles are kind of like, how would you describe them? Like symbols that you have to match up with other symbols. You have to make things out of the environment to make up, like line them up and get. There is a problem though, because this game has options in the camera where you can adjust the camera up and down. If you adjust that fucks up the lining up of the symbols. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people mess with the camera and then they couldn't get the things to line up, and that's because the camera is now at a different angle, but it hasn't accounted for that, so the puzzles still think that the camera's back where it should be. So if you're having that problem, either reset the camera or just adjust it slightly until you get it in the right place. But they're probably the weakest part of the game. The big part for me was just the story, the cinematics, the connection that you've got with Senua, the voices that are going on in your head. Just some sequences which I don't want to spoil, but man, it's so good, so good. The combat's kind of basic, but I don't mind that because I'm not very good at these games like Dark Souls or anything like that. So this kind of suited me because it's there's a bit of depth to it, but ultimately you don't need to use it if you don't want to. You can just use the same few attacks. There's a couple of different enemies. Sometimes you've got like guys with shields where you've got to like charge them and jump at them and things, but there's not a lot of variety to the combat. But from what I played, this is one of my favorite. This is up there with one of my favorite games of all time. It's in my top 5, definitely. I don't know where I'd rank it, but yeah, and it's beautiful as well. Don't ignore that footage, because this game is one of the best looking games in VR you can play. So,
Roots, what do you think?
I agree with everything he just said, especially with the footage. And even if it wasn't Switch footage, it just doesn't do justice to being in that game. That's a game that if you want to see what it looks like in VR, you have to be in VR. Otherwise, it's just not going to translate. I've messed around with the experimental modes, the one that makes you really small and also big, where it's tabletop. That's amazing. The audio, the visuals, everything about this game blew me away for sure. Even the beginning with all the whispering seemed almost creepy, like a demonic feel. Not that I like that feeling, but for them to be able to implement that feel into it to where it can feel that creepy, even though it's just weird. It was good. It was very audio amazing, or amazingly audio. So,
Roots, did the whispering bother you?
Yeah, it did actually.
Thought so, because there's some other game where I remember there was whispering that you didn't like. I can't remember what it was.
I almost returned it in the beginning because of the whispering, just because it did. It seemed almost demonic, and I don't like demonic stuff. So, but the biggest thing that made me, because it's a psychological thing. It's her in her mind. It's all these different voices, these personalities trying to guide her. Some are trying to screw her over. Some are trying to help her. You don't know what is real and what's not. And it does an amazing job of really conveying that. So once I was able to wrap my mind, my narrow mind around the fact that was designed to give you that psychological feel of what it would be like to be Senua in that circumstance. And I mean, in fairness, you are going into hell. So yeah, it probably should feel a little demonic. So I think they nailed it on that point as well.
I've just looked at I've just looked it up. It's actually just released on the Switch a couple of days ago. So that's
Okay.
probably, so it has actually just released on the Switch as well. I'll be interested to see if they can get it running on the Switch, whether they're working on a PSVR version, because I know that's something that's been requested, but I just don't know whether it'll be a big enough whether the downgrade would be too much to take you out of the experience. But sorry, Wes.
At this rate, we'll have the Labo VR version of it before we get the PSVR version of it.
Yeah. Yeah, do you want to talk about it, Wes?
Oh, yeah, I absolutely love this game. This is one of my favorite games that I've ever played. And what it is about this is these developers have taken absolutely every tool that they have at their disposal to create a third-person game that is more immersive than many first-person games. They did a lot of research on schizophrenia, and they used that knowledge that they gathered to mold Senua's personality, as well as the voices that literally whisper in your ear. And it's not like you're just hearing it like there's people standing in the room with you. These are literal whispers. You'll get one voice whispering in your right ear telling you to do something. Another little voice whispering in your left ear telling you that you shouldn't do something. Some of them are friendly. Some of them are evil. Some of them are attacking your self-esteem. Others are trying to build you up. And they really have nailed what it's like as much as they possibly can for a video game, what it's like to be mentally ill. And not only that, but the puzzles, like you were saying, they're all perspective based. You have to put yourself in the correct point of view and line up things to make the picture come together, and that's how you unlock things. This problem that you're talking about with the people not having the correct perspective by raising or lowering the camera, I found that an easy way to get around that is by putting the game into tabletop mode, like Roots was talking about, and sometimes it makes it easier to line up the puzzle from the other viewpoint modes. But graphically beautiful, very creative levels, very big levels. Everything's great. Haptics are 100% great. There's a area toward the end of the game where you're trying to find your way through a cave and you can't see. It's just black. But you use the sound. You can hear where the wind's coming from and you can feel it. You put your hands up, and when you get your hand into the wind, the controller starts to vibrate. So you know that's the direction you're supposed to be going. And I could go on for days about this game. It's absolutely wonderful. It's super immersive, and I recommend it highly to anyone who's interested in it.
Yeah, what you were saying about the voices, there's a section where I was stuck on a puzzle. I was trying to figure out, there's one particular room early on in the game where it's like a big area and there's so many of those different things, and you've got to kind of eliminate them by you go through these portals to eliminate, I don't know if you remember the area. You kind of go through a door, and as you go through the door, the layout of the area changes, and you have to keep eliminating all the different symbols before you can line it up. Right. And I couldn't figure that out, so I was doing it for ages, and the voices were in my head saying, oh, she can't do it. You can't do it. You don't know what you're doing. And it was actually starting to get to me, and I was like, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to I was actually starting to get really wound up by it, and it's incredible how effective the audio is in this game. It's incredible.
This is one of those games that I played every day until I beat it, and it felt like a movie. Like, sometimes I was like, I feel like I'm playing a movie instead of a game. It was so like cinematic and everything. So
do you think movies will be like that in the future, maybe, where like they're interactive movies, or like you're doing a little bit of interaction, but it's a full movie? That would be cool.
I think we're going to be inside movies, and we're going to be walking around everywhere inside, and see it from all angles, eventually.
Last Action Hero.
Vader Immortal obviously is being made in conjunction with XLM Labs by Ninja Theory, so I fully expect the Star Wars experience to be kind of similar, where it's really like an interactive movie, where in the Star Wars movie there'll be interactivity with you, but it'll be very story focused, very cinematic focused, and based on what I've seen with Hellblade, they know what they're doing, and I think that is going to be great. I think it'll be good. Do you want to add anything else, Justin?
No, I'm good. So Roots, what's your game?
I was going to talk about Resident Evil 7. Roots was very late to the party because I didn't get a PlayStation VR until like I think a few months ago, 3-4 months ago. And I decided I was going to get it and do some Let's Plays on my YouTube channel. And it's been one of the best games I've played. See, I don't do horror very much. I don't like to watch gratuitous horror movies. I don't play many horror games. But that's what stands out for this with me is the feelings it gives me of especially this game with Jack there. That fucker, he won't die. He taunts you as he's chasing you. He literally tells you he's going to eat you. And so, I get panicked. Like even Wes and I were talking about today, because he said in my Let's Play that he could write a book about the mistakes that I was making wrong, because I was really doing not a good job in that first video. And he said today that I need to calm down. And I would say, Wes, like when you got a guy chasing you with a fucking shovel, it was hard to calm down. I got really spooked. It's the feeling the feeling that game gives me, to where I'm nervously laughing when I get away. I can't explain it. It's such a good, weird experience that I'm blown away by, and I can't wait if it comes out for PC someday. I'm snatching it up because I'll replay it.
I want to say in my defense here, I didn't exactly put it that way. I gave you a couple of tips, and you said, good, give me some tips. I need some tips. And I was like, well, I'm glad you feel that way, because I could write a tip book about this game. So I wasn't really saying you were doing anything wrong per se, but you suck, dude. Seriously, no, no, it wasn't like that. But I get it. This game is terrifying, and even if you know what's going to happen, it scares you to death. So it's hard to calm down. Yeah.
It's a testament to how good the VR is, and right? I mean, especially on the PlayStation VR. to make me feel that immersed. Where, because I've played Dread Halls, I've played other scary games in PC, and I never had that level of fear. Like shit would come at me and I'd kind of flinch. But when I was running from Jack, I was fucking running from Jack, and I was really like terrified to get in that hatch. And when I got in, my heart was pounding. And for a game to make me feel that way, it becomes less and less that a game can evoke those kind of feelings as I progress in VR. You know.
I liked it enough to finish it and then buy all the DLC, then finish all the DLC, and now I want to play it again.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah, and like, even though it's a gamepad game, it's a VR gamepad game, it has no motion controls, it's still the best VR horror game there is by far, and probably because it's by Capcom and it has a big budget, way bigger than any other, indie VR horror game. Yeah, I mean, I don't usually get scared, but this game got me scared in plenty of parts. There's just shit that happens that you're like, no fucking way. I can't believe this shit has happened. So anybody else?
Yeah. I want to say that this game, I mean, it does so many things that people, VR enthusiasts, frown upon. I mean, people don't want seated games. People don't want gamepad games. But despite that, this is literally the best game that I've ever played. Not just the best horror game. It's the best game, period. I love this game. It's so terrifying. And like I was saying, I don't know if it was on last week's episode or the week before, but when I go into a VR game now, I'm trying to feel something. We all had that feeling the first time we played VR, and it fades over time. But this game never fails. You get in this, even if it's just for a minute, you're going to feel terrified. And they do so much well in this game. The environments are high detailed. Even despite it being a PlayStation game, the environments are highly detailed. The audio design is perfect. The characters are crazy and intimidating and creepy. The puzzles the puzzles aren't difficult, but you do have to do quite a bit of scavenging and exploring to make your way through certain parts of the game. It's the perfect length. The game's got it's long, but it's not too long.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that is what she said. That's literally what right there is what she said.
Marguerite?
Yeah, Marguerite. But I could talk about this game for a day solid. I love it so much. When I saw Roots was streaming it or playing it, I was happy and sad at the same time. I was happy that he was finally playing what I feel is the best game ever, but I was upset because I want to do this game on YouTube too. I want to play it. So I'm going to be respectful and wait until he finishes it, but it's kind of a tough one to finish. Honestly, I don't think I made it. I didn't make it all the way through this one. I made it about 3/4 of the way, and I love it so much that whenever I start playing it again after taking a month off or whatever, I always start it over again just because I love it so much, and I never make it to the end. Now, I've probably played through 75% of it 3 or 4 times at this point, but I've never made it to the end of it yet. But it's great, and I don't know what else to say, but I love it. It's perfect.
Yeah.
This game, there are a lot of camera movement in this game, there's certain scenarios where it takes control of the camera, and
I don't think so.
Just in the screen whenever they're showing a cinematic or something, but not.
I thought I saw times when you were getting grabbed and thrown around.
Oh, when Jack grabs you, yeah, because you're running and he'll grab you and he'll twist you around, and that's what's freaky because you think you're getting away from him, and I was even taunting him, laughing at him, and all of a sudden he grabs you, whips you around, and then I'm instantly saying, "I'm sorry," It's so realistic and for a VR game for sure.
Yeah, you get whipped around really fast. I don't think it's enough to cause motion sickness, really.
I just think
No.
it's interesting that they're actually doing that because most, especially PlayStation, the Sony are very strict about what they let you do and don't do.
Mhm.
It seems like they made some exceptions for this game and let them maybe have a bit more creativity with just. I think that there is a place for games that maybe do move you around a bit more. I don't think we need to constantly pander to everyone who can't. You know, we don't need to make a game that, like with Vacation Simulator, that's so focused on everybody having a good time and enjoying it that there's going to be certain games that are going to be restricted because of it. I think that it'd be nice if developers like that would just say, you know, fuck it. You know, if you can't handle it, then you can't play it, sort of thing. And that's one of those games I feel that is like that, and probably quite an intense game for a newcomer to play.
You think
It's-
a higher? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, so it's the most intense game as far as what's going into your eyes is like the most intense thing you've ever seen.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I mean. So we can. This is what I'm saying. The developers can do it. Developers can make games, and people will play them as long as they're compelling enough to play. People will play it, even if it does have these intense moments that might trigger some people. But yeah, I think that it'd be nice to see more intense stuff like that in VR, because not everybody has that problem, and it would be nice to have cool cinematic moments where you're getting thrown out of an aeroplane, or you know, something cool happens, and not have these blinkers come on all the time and stuff. So
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's kind of ridiculous that at this point we're still defaulting with all the comfort settings on. They should have to go into the menu and turn those on. We shouldn't have to go in every time we play a game and
well,
turn that
just
crap
give
off.
an option at the beginning. You know, do you want comfort? Do you want moderate? Do you want intense before you start the game? And you just select that, and then that's it. Rather than
Perfect.
putting you in a game with all the shit on, and you've got to then go into the options and then find it all and turn it all off, and yeah, that's frustrating.
Absolutely.
When I said intense, I meant on an emotional level.
Oh,
This
right.
is intense emotionally.
Maybe
It's
cry.
not that intense as far as comfort.
You don't think?
No, I did. Well, I will say this though, that the first time I played it, I did get a little queasy from it, and I don't get queasy easily. But really, it was just that first time. So maybe it was something else that was bothering me earlier in the day, because it hasn't happened since then. But I do remember I did feel a little bit ill the first time I played it.
It might be smooth turn only. I can't remember.
I think it's got snap turn, I'm
Oh,
sure.
it does.
I don't remember,
Okay.
because I always set my smooth turning on and I turn the speed way up. So
Yeah. Well, the next game is US.
oh, okay. So what I'm going to talk about this week is a game that was released, I guess, fall last year, and that game is Evasion. This game was released on PC as well as PSVR, to mixed reviews. And I played the PlayStation VR version. It had because it has aim support. I pre-ordered this game. It's one of the few games that I ever pre-ordered because I was excited about it like everybody else. This game, I think that it's underrated. I think it got a lot of negative reviews because of hype and speculation about what this game was going to be. People saw this trailer here that we're looking at, and when they saw this, they immediately thought Farpoint because the environments look like Farpoint. And then they saw that the price tag, the launch price of this game was $40, which is, again, expensive game like Farpoint. So people thought that they were going to get a Farpoint clone here, and they got excited about it because Farpoint is such a great game. And when this game came out and it was something completely different than what they were expecting, a lot of people crapped on it. And while I'll say that it is true, this game is overpriced. It's not a $40 game. It's more like a $25 game. It's a good game. And what's particularly good about it is that it's a co-op game. You can bring along a friend in PlayStation VR. And if I'm not mistaken, on PC, you can bring up to 3 friends and have a 4-person co-op session in this. And what it is, it's an arcade shooter. It's a pure arcade shooter where you're running through it. The levels are fairly linear, but there's tons of enemies that are shooting at you in kind of a bullet hell type situation. There's loads of cover. There's destructible cover. There's 4 classes of character that you can play as. Each individual character has a special attack that, or a special ability, I should say. They're not all attacks. Some of it is defensive oriented, but there's 4 separate characters with separate abilities, and they're very different and fun to play around with. The whole hook with this game is that you have an ability called a tether ability, where like there it is right there. When your enemy gets weakened, you can attach a tether from your gun, an energy tether, and depending on which character you're playing as, you can either siphon energy from your weakened enemy, or one of the characters can grab the enemy with the tether, and you can just literally slam them into the environment, into like the mountain, and kill them. There's a character called the Surgeon, where you can put your tether on your teammate and literally recharge their health bar with your gun. Anyway, this game took criticism for not having a lot of variety in the gameplay, and that's true. Like most arcade shooters, there isn't a whole lot of variety here. But what there is fun. It's a good length. It's easy for anyone to pick this game up and know how to play it immediately. There's not a steep learning curve. And I just think that people let their own expectations get in the way of enjoying what I believe is a very good game here. I don't know if any of you guys have played it or not, but I think that this is one of the best PlayStation aim controller titles that there is out there.
Roots, have you played it?
Oh, I have. Actually, I have not played it on PSVR, but I'm thinking about it now because I'm always looking for a good game for my aim controller. But it's really it's a bullet hell type of game where you need to keep moving all the time, and I found it to be actually a game that was challenging. I've only played it by myself. I've never played co-op, so I'm interested in doing that. But I've gotten to the last boss, and I've almost got him down, and it's not a joke. That there's a lot of skill that you get to develop as you go along, and it's one of the best arcade shooters I've played in a while. I do agree it's way overpriced. I think if it came out at $24.95, I bet it would have been not only received better, but I bet a lot more people would own it, because I don't know that many people went to buy it at that price.
So you played it on Rift?
Yeah, I played it on the Rift. I really enjoy it. I actually had a lot of people, just like Wes said, when it first came out, and I told them I tried it, they were like, "Oh, that game's shit," not even like interested in trying it. And I think that's a disservice to yourself. It's definitely worth playing for sure. Maybe not at $40.
I think that people went into this thing with preconceived notions. Even some of them that have tried it pretty much like to parrot off the same things that the large review groups have said about it, that it's repetitive, that it gets boring after a while. It doesn't, because the level of enemies that they throw at you increases. Like, there's more enemies, they're harder to kill, and I don't think I could make it through this game by myself. And I don't know, it's just really well done. The graphical fidelity is on point. I'd love to see what it looks like on PC, because it's crystal clear on my PlayStation. So I bet it's even got more detail in the PC, and the spatial sound is very good too. You've got all these shots going off around you, and everything is as it should be. Perfect, spot on, and definitely underrated.
Okay. My game is a game that came out this week. I talked about it earlier. Falcon Age for PSVR. So if you like Zelda games, you will like this game. So you're this girl that's locked up in this prison, and you end up meeting this little falcon who's a baby falcon, and as you can see, the falcon helps you escape from this prison, and so you're going through the world with the falcon. One thing, this trailer shows the falcon staying on your hand as you walk. I could never get the damn falcon to stay on my hand. Every time I moved or turned, it flew away. And in the options, there are a lot of locomotion options. You can teleport or you can do free loco. And they even have free loco where you can point your controller in the direction you want to go. It's like hand-based, or you can do head-based. And it's like you can make it pretty fast. But I tried it all the way down at like 0, where you can still move at 0, but the falcon would still fly away, which pissed me off. Because the highlight for me of this game is the falcon. I love just looking at the falcon. You can pet it and like actually see its feathers, move it around. If you look at it long enough, it'll lock its head onto you. And you can move its body around. Because birds have this thing where they can lock their head in one space, and then the body will move, probably to help them, get prey. So like I said, it's just like a Zelda. I mean, very similar to a Zelda game. Most of it is in this like desert-looking area, so it sort of looks like Gerudo Valley from a Zelda game. So just like a Zelda game, there's lots of talking. You're going to meet NPCs and you're going to talk to them a lot. There's going to be, but it's mostly just reading text. They mostly don't have any actual voice acting. And I don't know, to me, that's fine. I don't want to hear tons and tons of talking. But there's one thing about it is there's a lot of walking. And from what I've seen, I've played this, I don't know, I might have played it 5 hours. There's no fast travel. So like you do a lot of backtracking. You go to one area and then you have to like walk all the way back to where you started a lot of the time. But I mean, the graphics are really nice. So, I mean, you don't mind that much having to walk past where you already were before, because, you can just look around. But like I said, I wish the bird would stay on my arm, because the whole time I'm walking, the bird's flying around. And I'm like, well, I wish this bird would hang out with me, but it's flying around the whole time. The combat's pretty cool. You have this baton, it's an electrified baton that has like this laser whip action. So it's basically acts like a whip, and you use that against enemies. The enemies are these robots. They're flying robots, they're walking robots, they're like big, sort of like sentry bots. There are little insect-looking, spider-ish bots. I think those are all the ones I've fought. I haven't fought any humans yet, but what you end up doing is these bots are stationed at these like oil refineries, and you have to go to each one and shut it down. It's a game that's pretty focused on the environment and like, everything being like natural. So that's why you're shutting down these refineries and doing all that. And you're part of this like resistance movement that's against this corporation that has these refineries everywhere. And you just keep shutting them down and keep talking to people, learning more about the story, learning about, your family, because there's like family ties going on between your aunt is the woman, your mentor basically in this game. She teaches you as you play and like teaches you about how to treat your falcon, how to cook food for your falcon, because you actually like find, like fruits and vegetables around the place, and you can cook them in this cooker, and then you can feed it to your falcon, and different combinations, different recipes give you different, effects. Like maybe it gives the falcon better stealth or more health or more defense, and then there are all these NPCs all over the place that want you to do little side quests for them. So that's why it's like a Zelda game. So you do the side quests, and usually they just end up giving you a little hat or some little outfit for the bird. It's usually all it is. And, just something little cute thing for the bird to do. So that's kind of annoying that I'm not actually doing something usually that, matters. But when you're doing things that aren't the side quests, there are things that actually matter, like getting the bird like a little backpack that has sonar in it, so the bird can detect landmines. because there's sections where there are landmines everywhere, and only the bird can go dig out the landmine out of the ground so that you can then walk through the area. Or like only the bird can get these metallic talons that will allow it to like dig into the ground to dig something out for you. Things like that. So the game's really fun. I've enjoyed it, and you know, it might not be for everybody. I think I saw it getting like 7 out of 10 maybe on some sites, maybe 8 out of 10. But I mean, I'm gonna keep playing it. It's a game that I've been playing like every day. I like it enough to play it every day, you know, because I mean, I wanna beat it for sure, and I want to see what happens.
How much time do you have in it so far?
I think like 5 hours.
All right.
Wow. Okay.
What's your go-to bird hat though? That's my
There's this leather like you sometimes would see a bird with like a leather
Gimp mask.
Yeah. I
I know what you mean.
No, it's not a gimp mask. I don't know what it's called.
like a leather flyer, old school flying helmet or whatever.
No, it's actually something you would see on a real Falcon.
No.
No, I've seen them.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Look at their eyes up, don't they? It's just when they're storing them or something.
And this one, it can see through it. I've been wearing that one because I think it's giving it like armor abilities, like helping its defense, but I'm not positive. But like usually I don't like anything on the Falcon. I'd rather just look at the Falcon as the Falcon and not wearing silly shit. That's just me.
I pictured you as a sheriff's hat kind of guy, but I guess I was wrong.
Yeah. I haven't unlocked that yet.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. Maybe I haven't found the right NPC yet. I don't know.
I think you should go with the oversized sombrero.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tilted
I would
forward.
probably keep that one. Yeah. Anybody have any questions?
It looks like it'd be pretty good. I'm kind of psyched. If I'll probably would wait for it to come for PC. If it does come to PC, I think it would be something that I would be interested in playing for sure.
Oh yeah. And the combat, when you're fighting these robots and stuff, a lot of times you have to work together. So like, say I have to hit this robot with my laser whip. Well, then maybe the robot will be like, oh, knocked over. Well, then you have to call the bird, because you can direct the bird wherever you want. So then you direct the bird at the robot, and so then the bird will do something like, lift the robot up in the air, dangling by its foot. Then you have to come over to the robot and hit it with your baton until it, just explodes. Stuff like that. You work together as a team like that. This is some gameplay that I did. These are some little digging monsters. Oh yeah, and this part, these monsters have some armor on them, and but I don't think this one did. I think I already got all the armor off of it. But like, some NPC in a village wanted the armor off of these things. So yeah, no armor on that thing. You go back there with the armor, and then I can't remember, she gives you some upgraded item or something like that.
Yeah, so you're enjoying it, because I know it's got a lot of criticism for the world feeling a bit empty and kind of samey and not enough variety. And
yeah.
I think someone said something about there's a landmine situation, but then you clear the landmines, and then when you come back, the landmines are there again or something.
Yes, that was stupid. That was really stupid. Yeah, I cleared all these landmines with that backpack, the bird, like I was talking about, and she had to have special claws to dig the landmines out. Yeah. Then I walk not that far to go do some task. Then I come back and the landmines are all there, and we have to do it all again.
That reminds me of it. You remember? Did anyone play Far Cry 2?
I never played part 2.
When you have these outposts and you have to go through them to get to a place. Mm-hmm. So you'd have all these guys and you kill them all and you go through, and then you'd literally turn around and come back, and then they're all back. All the guys are back there again. It's like constantly just regenerating. So
that was in Africa, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's just tangent.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right.
Cool.
Well, that's the show. Thanks for watching, everyone.
You're gonna sing a song?
Oh no, definitely not. I wasn't prepared for that. I should have prepared a song.
Maybe next time. Yeah.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Give us a thumbs up if you want to see Justin sing on the next show.
No. You gotta subscribe too.
Yeah.
Subscribe, like,
And leave a comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Telling me the song you want me to sing.
And next week we should be. Are we going to upload these every Monday now? Is that what we decided to do?
I think it's a good idea. With all the content that there already is on the weekend, and plus it gives us a little bit of time to edit and do the technical things that we need to do.
So yeah, every Monday morning these should be going up. Yeah, if you do want to leave us any comments or any suggestions, we're still learning. So yeah, let us know.
Slowly but surely we're getting it all sorted out.
You don't see all the stuff behind the scenes, but this is an hour and a half long episode, and it took us 4 hours to get to this point. So yeah, we've still got a long way to go in terms of getting everything sorted. And plus, Justin needs to learn some songs and lyrics and stuff. Yeah. So that'll come later. We all need to get little microphones. We need to get a green screen so we can be walking through New York like Roots as well.
Yes.
Or wheeling through New York.
Yeah, wheeling and dealing. I just don't want to get mugged. So
be careful.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're done.
Cool.
See you guys next week.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.